Good afternoon, guys. It's working, bringing you a quick update on Bitcoin. Hope you guys are having a wonderful afternoon. We're looking at Bitcoin to the US dollar. This is the 4-hour chart on Bitfinex, guys. And I apologize I didn't get you an update yesterday. I saw a lot of your comments, but yesterday was kind of family day for me, and I have to take a step back from trading every now and then, just so I so I don't lose my family. But anyway, guys. I'm back with you guys, back in the saddle here, and ready to kick some butt, take some names, to hopefully make some money. Bitcoin has certainly been interesting in the last 24 to 48 hours, guys, and I'm starting to reevaluate my Elliott count. I'm not there yet, but I'm seeing two very real possibilities, both of which have very different outcomes. The first is this has been my Elliott count so far. Counting this as a 1, 2, all of this would have been a 3, so this would be the top of my 3, back down for the 4, and we'd be coming back up for the 5. That has been my Elliott count so far. I'm not convinced that's the case anymore, guys, and the reason is, I was looking at this a little differently. I was kind of counting this as our possible diagonal, our possible rising wedge, and certainly it was in a sense that we did have price end up breaking down. It was very, in that sense, that was very predictable, this breakdown here, and then this continuation. But because we didn't see that a further breakdown, and I pointed it out at the time, guys, when price collapsed here, yes, I called that. Yes, I was pointing out how we were probably going to see a price collapse. But I told you after we did, I said this thing didn't fall as much as I would have liked to have seen. Not I would have liked to, as much as could have been expected from a rising diagonal like that, guys. Not at all. And so it was very interesting. And then price continued. And as price continued, found support here and shot right back up, I'd been watching this, and if I just slowly adjust this diagonal here, again, putting the bottom down here, putting our resistance point here, or excuse me, support point here, respected here 2 different times, what is this starting to look like to you? That Elliott count doesn't really work if this is in fact a rising wedge like this. If this is in fact a what? Well, if that's in fact the case, what does this look like for as far as an Elliott count? And again, this isn't perfect, not by any means, guys. This is not a perfect count. It is a little bit sloppy, but if I count all of this as my 1, this is my 2, this is my 3, and I know what you guys are thinking, so just bear with me for just 1 second. This is my 4, and this is my 5. Yes, now typically, would this be a standard Elliott count? No, because typically, wave 3 is often the longest and the strongest. It's not that isn't the case here. Wave 1 is the longest here, but wave 3 is still not the shortest, so that's still technical. Not beautiful, but still technical. Okay. The other problem, what do we have here? We have wave 4 coming in, overlapping wave 1 by more than a wick. Okay, that's typically also not accepted in Elliott, right? Okay. So what do we also have? We also have, a very, very shortened wave 5 here. Also not great, but okay, whatever. Yeah, so if this is my count, guys, it doesn't look great unless this is a leading diagonal. And if this is a leading diagonal, it meets all the requirements, guys. If I look at this as, if I look at this in subwaves, we know typically wave 1, wave 3, and wave 5 have 5 subwaves. In a leading diagonal, they can have 3 or 5. They can be either or. Okay, so if I look at this, and if this is a correct count, I have 3 perfect waves here. Excuse me, 3 perfect waves here, right? A, B, C, just 3 perfect waves. If I come in here and especially, okay, my wave 2, we expect that. But again, wave 3, what do we have? We have 3 perfect waves. Okay, what do we have with our wave 5? Wave 5, we have, if this is in fact the top of our wave 5, not as perfect, but still almost 3 perfect waves. Okay. So, if that's the case, that it's meeting all the requirements of leading diagonal. Leading diagonal, often wave 4, or almost always, wave 4 retraces wave 1. So again, meeting the requirements of leading diagonal. What else do I have? We had this throw over of our wave 5 at the end over the top of our rising wedge. Also very characteristic of a leading diagonal. So, is this a leading diagonal? If it is, we should start to see price collapse. And again, I'm not saying that that is 100% the case. In fact, I'm about 50-50 at this point. We had massive volume come in right here, guys. Just a huge candle of volume right here, clearly all selling. Come over here, look at my shorts chart. What do we have? Inside of 8 hours, shorts went up almost 35-40%. Inside of 8 hours, almost making up all the ground that they lost over 3 days in 8 hours. That's unheard of. Okay, so if that's the case, guys, this is kind of this. Look at this from a market maker's point of view. What are market makers going to do? Typically, if the shorts would have remained, if shorts would have remained completely down, if they would have continued to fall off, I would say that price is going to fall off here very, very soon. However, the fact that all these short positions came in, we can see them all right here. Here's where they came in. This big, massive volume bar here of sellers. Those were all short positions. Not just people selling their positions, but people going into short positions. So, if that's in fact the case, we've got a lot of retail and shorts. That's going to incentivize market makers to possibly prop price up. Not saying that's going to happen, just saying it's possible. Okay, if I come over here and I check my longs. If longs were stacked, okay, then we'd be in kind of a stalemate, and then the market would operate as it should. But longs are not stacked. In fact, quite the opposite. They're, if anything, they're dropping. More moving sideways. Just a tiny little uptick here in the last hour, but for the most part, they've been dropping or moving sideways. So, what do we have? We have a lot of incentive for market makers to push up a short squeeze. However, we haven't seen, shorts are not back where they were prior. We could see market makers get these short positions very, very comfortable. In other words, they could let price continue to drop down here, bring shorts up to all-time high, not all-time highs, but certainly in recent very, very high, bring them up here and then just slaughter them by bringing price up. And we'll know very, very soon, in my opinion. If this is a leading diagonal, we should see a drop-off here very soon. We should see price come back, test the top of this zone, and if this zone acts as support, okay, then that's going to be healthy. And the real test is going to be when we come into this ascending support line here. Is price going to just fall over, or is price going to hit that support and take right back off? Again, if this is a leading diagonal, it should just fall over, and we should just see a collapse down to at least this 6750 mark, at least. And we'd be in, okay, that fifth wave would be in our ABC correction, possible ABC correction. So this would be a primary wave 1. We'd be coming down for a primary wave 2, if that's in fact the case. Okay, so we're gonna have to wait and see when price comes down, test this support, see if we get a strong bounce, then test this resistance or this support line here. If we get a strong bounce there, come back up, and we break out of this ascending resistance line here, if we break out to the top and price doesn't just wick up here and then fall down very quickly, but it actually breaks out, and maybe if this even starts acting as support, certainly if it breaks out and we get into this 7500 zone, there's a lot of resistance between 7500 and 7700, guys, a lot of resistance. But if price can get in here and start operating, even if it just gets in here and then just moves sideways within this zone between 75 and 7700, if price can come into this zone and maintain itself in this zone, I'm going to be very, very bullish, and I'm going to start thinking that price could very easily shoot up above 7,700. And if price does get above 7,700, I think it'll be a very quick rise to at least 8,000, in my opinion. Again, just my opinion. Not saying that's going to happen. I just think if it does, but if it's gonna, we have a lot of resistance to get through between 75 and 7,700, and I'm not even sure we're ever going to see that before we see a massive correction here. And again, if this is a leading diagonal, we should be seeing a massive correction here in the next 24 hours. We know this is a holiday weekend. This is Labor Day in the United States. Oftentimes funny things happen over the holidays. If you don't live in the U.S., guys, no, I realize that the U.S. is not the center of the universe, but there is a lot of buying and selling that takes place here, and so that does tend to have a very big effect on the market, just like other large countries do. So the fact that it is Labor Day, the fact that futures expired on Friday, day before yesterday, a lot of funny things happen off in the market, guys. So it's going to be very interesting to see if the market makers actually let these short positions continue to stack, only to liquidate them later, or if they decide to liquidate them here in the short term, push price up again, liquidate all those shorts, make people think that price is going to go to all-time high, and then just bring it toppling back over. Very interesting to see. Or if they just short squeeze them right up through 8,000. And if shorts continue to stack at this rate, if shorts continue to come up and they start testing these zones up here, the prior high here of this structure, if that happens, almost certainly I think you're going to see price just explode to liquidate these shorts. But if shorts kind of start moving sideways and start to fall off here again, guys, then I think very likely you'll see price start to fall off as well. Certainly, if you start to see long positions start to stack, if longs do start to stack here, guys, more than likely price is going to end up falling. If longs continue to fall here, once again, I can see market makers pushing price up. And yeah, looking at volume, it's going to be very, volume is still extremely weak. Yes, it's up from the last few days by about 500 million or so, but it's still extremely weak, still very easy to manipulate, which means market makers really can take this price whatever direction they want to go in. And it's going to be very interesting to see how that ends up playing out. If we're looking at our histogram, guys, we can see that histogram is kind of sitting here moving sideways for right now, showing us no real indication which way it's going to go. RSI on the 4 hour is sitting at about 66, somewhere thereabouts. Sitting on the daily, it's at about 53 or 63, somewhere thereabouts, guys. So again, looking relatively strong as of right now, but doesn't mean it can't just completely fall off. We're going to be watching this daily candle like a hawk. If this daily candle starts to turn bearish, drops below this prior close of the prior day, then I'm going to start to get rather bearish here in the short term. As long as this daily candle, if we can get this daily candle to close above this descending resistance, if this daily candle closes above this wedge here that I've got here, in my opinion, that will possibly invalidate this leading diagonal pattern. And at that point, I'll go into my other Elliott account where I'll think this was possibly just the top of wave 3, very small correction, and then we should have another wave up to complete our 5th wave. But I'm not there yet, guys. All eyes are going to be watching this candle. All eyes are going to be watching to see which direction price breaks out of this wedge, if it breaks out of this wedge, which eventually it will have to, at least in the next 48 to 72 hours. So anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it there. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, please let me know in the comment section below. As always, guys, I'd appreciate it if you just hit that like button or that up button, or the upvote button. Just lets me know you want me to continue to make these videos. Until next time, guys, please take care of yourselves. Trade safe. This is Working, signing out.